Thank you all for being here today. I want to speak from a place that's real and honest, because the title before us, God chose them for you, watch what happens, carries more weight than we often realize. There are moments in life when people come into your world and you don't fully understand why. It could be a stranger who shows you kindness when you least expect it, a friend who sticks around through the storms, or even someone who challenges you in ways that don't feel comfortable. But later, with time and distance, you look back and realize they were never random. They were placed in your path for a reason. Sometimes we pray for strength, and God sends us someone who pushes us to grow. Sometimes we ask for peace, and He gives us someone who teaches us patience. We might ask for love, and He gives us someone who knows how to see us clearly without asking us to shrink. They might not look like what we expected. They might not arrive in the package we imagined, but they were chosen, placed precisely in our lives, not by accident, but by intention. The truth is, when God chooses someone for you, whether it's a friend, a mentor, a partner, or even a challenge wrapped in human form, something begins to shift. Things start to align. Healing begins. Growth takes root. Purpose reveals itself. You don't need to force what is divinely aligned. You don't need to chase or beg or prove your worth to what was meant for you. Watch what happens when you simply accept what has been placed in front of you with faith. Watch what happens when you stop resisting and start trusting that not every connection is meant to be logical. Some are just meant to be. Because when God chooses them for you, they'll see you, they'll support you, they'll stretch you. They'll hold up a mirror and help you become more of who you're meant to be. Not by fixing you, not by completing you, but by walking with you. So today, I encourage you to open your eyes to the people around you. Pay attention to those who show up consistently and quietly, or even loudly and unexpectedly. Some people are sent to change your life. Others are sent so you can change theirs. Either way, God's hand is in it. So trust the placement, trust the process, and most of all, watch what happens. The people who come into your life, especially the ones who make a lasting impact, often arrive with purpose, not coincidence. There's a deeper reason for their presence, even if it's not immediately clear. We often walk through life believing that relationships form by chance, that we bump into people without reason or significance. But as time goes on, as we reflect on who stayed, who challenged us, who lifted us up, and who quietly walked away, we begin to sense that there's something far more intentional at work. These connections are not accidents. They are divine appointments, moments and people carefully placed by a higher power to guide, shape, and sometimes even heal us. When someone truly changes the course of your life, it's not just because they happen to be at the right place at the right time. It's because they were sent, specifically, divinely. Their words hit differently. Their presence feels like something familiar, even if you've just met. They see something in you that maybe no one else has noticed. And their role in your story, big or small, often carries a weight that's hard to explain. That's the beauty of divine connections. They bypass the logic and go straight to the heart. You don't always understand them with your mind, but your soul knows they're significant. Sometimes these people enter your life gently, quietly. They don't announce themselves with fanfare. Instead, they begin to occupy space in your life in a way that feels natural, yet meaningful. Other times, they arrive like a storm, disrupting patterns, forcing change, breaking down walls you didn't even know you had built. Whether peaceful or powerful, their presence marks a shift, and it's that shift that tells you this was no accident. We often miss the meaning of these encounters because we're too focused on surface details. Maybe we question why someone who seems so different from us could play such a major role in our journey. Maybe we dismiss people because they don't fit our expectations, forgetting that God's choices aren't based on what we want. A person might not look like what we prayed for, but they carry the answer in their character, in their influence, in the timing of their arrival. Sometimes the answer doesn't look like a miracle, it looks like a person. There are times when we only recognize the depth of a divine connection after it ends. You look back on a friendship, a conversation, or a relationship and realize how much it shaped you, how it moved you forward, how it brought light during a dark season. And that's part of the design. Not every person God sends is meant to stay forever. Some are temporary, but their impact is eternal. Others are meant to walk with you long-term, helping to carry the weight of your calling, your purpose, your story. The key is to stop seeing people as random and start seeing them as part of a divine strategy. When you begin to view life through that lens, it changes how you treat people. You stop taking relationships for granted. You start asking yourself what lessons someone might be here to teach you, what role you might be playing in someone else's journey, and how God might be using you as the answer to someone else's prayer. Not everyone in your life is meant to be part of your destiny, but everyone who comes into your life has a purpose. Some are lessons, some are blessings, some are mirrors that reflect your strengths and weaknesses, some are messengers who bring clarity and direction, and a few, just a few, are the ones God chose specifically for you. Those people are rare. When you find them, hold them close. Watch what happens when you embrace those connections with openness, faith, and gratitude. Your life begins to change. Your path becomes clearer, and you realize, maybe for the first time, that you were never walking alone. You were being led, carefully, lovingly, and purposefully. Sometimes what we pray for doesn't show up in a situation. It shows up in a person. Strength, love, healing, growth, these can all come through relationships that God orchestrates. Often we expect answers to our prayers to come in clear, dramatic ways. We look for sudden breakthroughs, instant solutions, or changes in circumstances. But God, in His wisdom, often answers us in ways that are quiet, subtle, and deeply personal. He sends people, not always the ones we expect, but exactly the ones we need. When you ask for strength, God may not make your burdens disappear. Instead, He may send someone into your life who helps you carry them, someone who stands beside you when you feel like falling apart, someone who reminds you that you're stronger than you think. Their presence becomes your support, their words, their encouragement, their actions. These are how God responds to your cry for help. It doesn't always come with lightning and thunder. Sometimes it comes through a calm voice on a hard day, or a shoulder to lean on when you feel like you're about to break. When you ask for love, God might not give it to you in the way you've imagined, or from the person you've been hoping for. Instead, He might place someone in your life who sees you for who you are and loves you in a way that helps you heal. It may be a friend who stays, a partner who chooses you every day, or even a stranger who reminds you that you are not invisible. God uses people to show us His heart. His love often flows through their kindness, through their patience, through their willingness to walk with us, even when it's messy. When you ask for healing, it may not come through instant restoration. Sometimes it begins with the presence of someone who helps you believe again, someone who makes you feel safe enough to be vulnerable. Healing rarely happens in isolation. It happens in connection with people who have walked through their own pain and now stand as a testimony to what's possible. God will send someone who has been through what you're going through. They won't just sympathize. They'll understand. And their story becomes a reminder that healing is possible, that you're not alone, and that your wounds don't define you. When you pray for growth, God doesn't always give you comfort. Instead, He gives you people who challenge you, people who stretch your thinking, who confront your excuses, who won't let you settle for less than your potential. It's easy to resist those people at first. They might frustrate you. They might make you uncomfortable. But they are placed in your life for a divine reason. Growth isn't always soft and gentle. Sometimes it comes through confrontation, through accountability, through truth spoken in love. And the people God chooses for this role are there to push you toward the version of yourself you are meant to become. What we have to understand is that God is relational. He moves through people because He created us to be in relationship with Him and with each other. He sends answers wrapped in human form, and those answers don't always announce themselves. They show up as new friendships, unexpected mentors, co-workers, or even people you once overlooked. But over time, you realize their significance. You realize that their timing, their presence, and their role in your life is too precise to be random. This is why it's so important to stay open. Don't miss what you prayed for because it didn't come in the form you expected. Don't walk past a divine connection just because it doesn't look like a miracle. People are God's delivery system for many of His promises, and sometimes the greatest blessings come not through a change in your situation, but through the people who help you navigate it. If you've been praying and waiting, look around you. Who has shown up? Who continues to stay? Who challenges you, supports you, sees you, and believes in you? Maybe they're not just a friend. Maybe they're not just a partner or a voice of encouragement. Maybe they're the answer you've been waiting for. Watch what happens when you stop looking for signs in the sky and start recognizing the miracles in front of you in the form of people God has sent just for you. When someone is chosen for you by God, they will challenge you, support you, and help you evolve. They're not always easy, but they're always meaningful. Growth doesn't often come from comfort, and the people God places in your life for real growth and change rarely let you stay where you are. They ask the hard questions. They hold up a mirror. They push you gently or sometimes firmly into uncomfortable spaces, not to harm you, but to help you become who you were always meant to be. We often think that divine connections are supposed to be peaceful, effortless, and easy, but that's not always true. Sometimes the people God sends into your life will disrupt your usual way of thinking. They'll confront your bad habits, your limiting beliefs, or your unhealthy patterns. You might not like it at first, you might resist, but deep down a part of you knows they're right. These people don't show up to flatter you or tell you only what you want to hear. They show up with truth, with love, and with the kind of care that doesn't walk away when things get tough. Support doesn't always look like constant agreement. Sometimes it looks like correction, encouragement with challenge, and presence in the process of change. The right people won't just sit with you in your struggle. They'll walk with you toward your breakthrough. They'll remind you of your worth when you forget it. They'll stand by you when you fail and still believe in your ability to rise. They won't define you by your mistakes. Instead, they'll help you learn from them, grow through them, and use them as fuel for your transformation. Some of the people God chooses for you will enter your life during a season of difficulty. Maybe you're stuck, confused, or broken, and instead of fixing everything for you, they bring perspective. They speak life into dry places. They remind you of who you are and who you're becoming. Their presence alone becomes a turning point, not because they have all the answers, but because their energy, their faith, and their refusal to give up on you becomes contagious. Change starts to happen, not just around you, but within you. Other times, these people enter your life just as you begin to elevate. You're stepping into something new, something bigger, and they help you carry it. They walk beside you as you stretch into unfamiliar territory. They believe in the vision even when you doubt it. And in their support, you find strength. You find stability. You find confidence to keep going. They don't try to change your direction. They amplify what's already inside of you. That kind of support isn't ordinary, it's sacred. And when you experience it, you know that this person was sent, not just found. The right people aren't perfect. They have flaws, just like you. But what sets them apart is their purpose in your life. They make you better. They challenge your thinking. They help you become more honest, more brave, more whole. Sometimes they do this through love. Other times it's through conflict that leads to clarity. Either way, the outcome is the same: growth. You're not the same after meeting them, and that's the point. It's easy to cling to what's familiar, to stay close to people who keep us comfortable. But God is more interested in your growth than your comfort. He's more invested in your transformation than your temporary ease. And so he sends the ones who will stir your spirit, stretch your faith, and awaken your potential. You might not recognize them at first. They may come in ways that surprise you, but over time you'll begin to see the purpose in their presence. Not everyone is meant to go with you into your next season, but the right ones, the ones God has chosen, will not only go with you, they will prepare you for it. They will help you rise into it. They will become evidence of God's faithfulness in your life. And when you look back, you won't remember every word they said, but you will remember how they made you grow, how they made you believe, and how they helped shape the person you've become. That kind of connection is a gift, and it's worth everything. Instead of forcing relationships or questioning every connection, trust that some people are placed in your life for divine reasons. Let go of control and watch what unfolds. We live in a world that constantly tells us to plan everything, to manage every detail, and to always be in control. We analyze every interaction, second-guess people's intentions, and sometimes try to shape relationships to fit the version we think we need. But when it comes to the people God sends into your life, control isn't the answer. Trust is. Trust that there is a bigger plan at work. Trust that timing, presence, and connection are part of something sacred that you don't have to manipulate. It's human to want clarity. We want to know why someone is in our life. We want to label it, define it, and decide if they're meant to stay or go. But divine connections rarely reveal themselves all at once. Sometimes people come into your life and nothing about them makes sense at first. They might be completely different from you. They may show up in a season where you weren't expecting anything new, but something about them feels important. Their presence lingers. Their words echo. Their energy shifts something inside of you. That's when trust comes in. You don't always need to understand it immediately. You just need to honor it, pay attention to it, and let it unfold naturally. Control often comes from fear. Fear of being hurt, fear of wasting time, fear of repeating past mistakes. So we build walls, we keep people at a distance, or we hold on too tightly, trying to force something to work before it's ready. But when God brings someone into your life for a divine reason, you don't have to fear, you don't have to force. What's meant for you will not require you to compromise your peace. Divine connections are not built on control, they're built on alignment. They evolve in their own time, not by pressure, but by purpose. Letting go of control doesn't mean being passive. It means being open. It means allowing space for God to move, for people to reveal their true intentions, for trust to be built in a genuine way. It means learning to sit with the unknown without rushing to label everything. Some of the most important relationships begin in uncertainty, and that's okay. Trust gives room for clarity to grow. It gives room for both people to show up as they are and discover the connection together. When you try to control relationships, you limit what they can become. You box them into your own expectations. But when you trust, you allow something much deeper to take shape. You allow the relationship to become what it was meant to be, not just what you want it to be. That's when the beauty of divine timing and divine placement begins to show. That's when you see that some people were sent not just to be a part of your story, but to transform it. The truth is, not everyone will make sense in your life right away, and not everyone will stay. But the ones who are placed by God will leave an impact whether they stay for a season or a lifetime. And when you trust the process, you'll be able to recognize the difference. You'll stop holding on to what's fading and start giving your energy to what's growing. You'll stop trying to fix what's broken and start nurturing what's real. You'll see that trust leads to peace, and peace is where love grows strongest. Sometimes God sends someone and all he asks of you is to trust, not to figure it all out, not to control the outcome, just trust. Trust that this connection is part of your path. Trust that even if it challenges you, it's shaping you. When you live from a place of trust instead of control, you make room for grace. You create space for divine relationships to thrive. You become less reactive and more responsive. You stop chasing and you start receiving. And in that space, the right people show up, stay and grow with you, not because you controlled the relationship, but because you trusted the one who brought it into your life. So if you find yourself trying to force things, take a breath, let go, trust. The people meant for you won't need to be manipulated into place. They'll arrive in divine timing, and when they do, they'll fit, not perfectly, but purposefully. And that's more than enough. God's chosen people for you may not be perfect, but they will align with your path. Their presence will feel purposeful, and they will help you move closer to your calling. In life, it's easy to chase after perfection. Perfect friendships, perfect partners, perfect circumstances. We tend to imagine that the people meant for us will arrive fully formed, with no flaws, no baggage, and no complication. But the truth is, perfection isn't what makes someone right for your life. Alignment does. It's not about someone fitting every box on your checklist. It's about them fitting where you're going, not just where you are. The people God places in your life may not have it all together. In fact, they might come with their own set of struggles, challenges, or weaknesses. But somehow, despite the imperfections, they bring clarity. They bring peace. They help you rise. There is a sense of connection that goes deeper than logic, a pull that speaks to your soul and says, this is someone you're meant to journey with. It doesn't always make sense on the surface, but in your spirit you know it's right. That's what alignment feels like. It's not loud, it's not dramatic. It's steady, and it feels like home, even if it's unfamiliar. Alignment means your values match. It means your direction is similar, even if your personalities are different. It means they don't pull you away from your purpose, they help push you toward it. They remind you of who you are when you forget. They speak truth to you when you're lost in doubt. And even when they challenge you, it's with love. Their presence doesn't create confusion or chaos. Instead, it brings a quiet strength to your life, a grounding presence that helps you stay focused. So many people miss divine connections because they're looking for perfection. They want the appearance of completeness, not realizing that God doesn't send people to complete you. He sends people to complement your path. The right person may still be healing. They may still be figuring things out. But their spirit aligns with yours. Their heart carries the kind of goodness, loyalty, and purpose that resonates with your own. They aren't perfect, but they are real. They're consistent. They're intentional. And they show up not just in your highs, but in your lows. When you're aligned with someone, you don't have to perform. You don't have to shrink, pretend, or filter yourself. You can be seen as you are and still be loved. That kind of connection allows for growth. It gives both people the space to evolve, to change, to make mistakes, and still remain on the same path. It creates a bond that is based not on image, but on purpose. You are both walking in the same direction, even if you walk differently. Alignment also means that you can trust the timing. Maybe they didn't show up when you wanted, but they arrived when you needed them. Maybe you had to go through certain lessons before you were ready to receive what they bring into your life. God's timing always matches His plan. And when someone aligns with your destiny, the timing may not be perfect, but it will be divine. It's important to remember that aligned relationships will still face conflict. They will still go through tests, but the difference is in how those challenges are handled. Aligned people don't run when things get hard. They don't give up at the first sign of difficulty. Instead, they lean in. They grow with you. They stay, not out of obligation, but because their heart knows that the connection is part of something greater. So stop looking for perfection and start looking for alignment. Look for the people whose lives reflect truth, who challenge you to grow, and who feel like purpose more than convenience. They might not have it all figured out, but they're willing to walk with you as they figure it out, and in that walk, something sacred unfolds. You begin to see that God's plan was never about flawless people. It was about faithful ones, those who show up, align with your calling, and help you become more of who you're meant to be. Let go of the idea that perfect is the goal. Embrace the beauty of alignment, because when God sends someone who aligns with your purpose, your life begins to take shape in ways you never imagined. It won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. That kind of connection changes everything, not because it's perfect, but because it's real, it's right, and it's rooted in something eternal. When you stop asking why them and start saying thank you, you begin to see the beauty in God's choices. Gratitude helps reveal the purpose behind the placement. It's natural to question the people who come into our lives, especially when they arrive in unexpected ways or during inconvenient seasons. We wonder why they're here, what role they're supposed to play, and whether we can trust their presence. But when we shift our mindset from questioning to gratitude, everything begins to change. Instead of overanalyzing every encounter, we start to appreciate the hidden value in each one. Gratitude doesn't require full understanding. It simply requires awareness. It asks you to step back and say, even if I don't fully understand it now, I trust that there's purpose in this. That small shift in perspective opens your eyes to what's often hidden in plain sight. The lessons, the healing, the growth, and the divine orchestration behind the scenes. People come into your life for different reasons. Some teach you. Some challenge you. Some love you in ways that help you finally love yourself. And when you stop looking at them through the lens of confusion and start seeing them through the lens of gratitude, their role becomes clearer. Gratitude softens your heart. It makes space for empathy. You begin to see that even the difficult relationships had meaning. Maybe that person hurt you, but they taught you how to set boundaries. Maybe they walked away, but they helped you realize your strength. Maybe they loved you only for a season, but in that time you experienced something you'll carry with you forever. Gratitude doesn't deny the pain. It simply acknowledges that even pain can serve a purpose when God is involved. It invites you to look deeper, to find gold in what once felt like loss. There are people in your life right now who may seem ordinary, but they're actually extraordinary in their impact. They show up without being asked. They support you in ways that go unnoticed. They speak life into you when you're quiet about your struggles. These are the people you don't need to figure out. You just need to thank God for them. Because the more grateful you become for their presence, the more aware you become of their purpose. You stop missing the miracle because it doesn't come in dramatic form. You start appreciating the quiet consistency of someone who is simply there. There is something powerful about saying thank you for this person, even when you don't understand it, even when the connection feels confusing. Gratitude keeps your heart open. It allows you to grow into the answer rather than force it. Some people won't make sense until years later, and that's okay. Some people are planting seeds in your life that won't bloom until another season. It trusts that God knew what he was doing when he brought them into your life. And sometimes it's not even about what they do for you. Sometimes you're the one placed in their life for a reason. You're the answer to their prayer. You're the encouragement they needed. You're the reminder that love, kindness, and purpose still exist in a world that can feel cold. Gratitude doesn't just help you see what you've received. It helps you see what you've been given the chance to give. It puts your life in perspective and reminds you that divine purpose flows in both directions. When you live with gratitude, you stop chasing, you stop forcing. You allow relationships to unfold without pressure. You recognize the hand of God in small gestures, in meaningful conversations, in the timing of a person's presence. Gratitude turns why them into thank you God for trusting me with this connection. It shifts your focus from trying to control to simply being present. And in that presence, the beauty of divine placement becomes undeniable. In the end, the purpose of the people God places in your life isn't always immediate, but it is always intentional. Gratitude helps you slow down enough to see it. It removes the need to have all the answers and replaces it with peace. So when someone shows up and something in you feels a shift, don't rush to explain it. Let it be. Watch it unfold. And most of all, be grateful. Gratitude opens your eyes to divine purpose and allows you to fully receive the gift of the people chosen for you. And that's when the meaning begins to reveal itself, not all at once, but moment by moment, quietly, powerfully, and beautifully.